Why did it have to be you, of all people, to be the first? Mother's frigid words reverberated throughout the otherwise quiet living room. Her glacial stare, fixed upon my stomach, rendered me momentarily mute. My name is Maran, and I am a 25-year-old homemaker. My sister Tara is my senior by 3 years and has perpetually been Mother's favored child. Until the day I returned home to share the news of my pregnancy, I had harbored a hope that my connection with Mother might, even marginally, improve. I'd fostered the belief that the arrival of her first grandchild might serve to mend our protracted discord. When my husband, Warner, and I visited my parents' residence, my sister Tara was the first to extend her greetings. "Maran, it's been such a while," she exclaimed, welcoming us with her characteristic buoyant smile. Father was currently occupied with work, but was anticipated to return shortly. Mother's countenance was perceptibly strained when she initially observed me. However, the instant she noticed Warner, she donned a feigned smile. "Oh my, I haven't arranged anything for your arrival. Just a moment," she stated, proceeding towards the kitchen to retrieve homemade pastries. They were all saccharine confections, and Mother is well aware of my aversion to excessively sweet foods. When we had initially announced our engagement, Warner had expressed a fondness for sweets, and she had retained this information, remarking with exaggerated solicitude, "Oh, that's correct. Maran doesn't favor sugary treats, does she? My apologies." While maintaining a smile directed at my spouse, Warner diplomatically responded, "With whom I'm sharing a meal is more significant to me than the specific fare." Mother merely offered a curt "I see," and settled onto the sofa. Once everyone was comfortably seated, I inhaled deeply. "We've come today because we have a significant announcement," I initiated, and Mother's eyes flickered sharply for a fleeting second. "Actually, I'm expecting." A profound silence descended upon the living room. Tara was the first to respond, offering her congratulations with a radiant smile. "Maran, this is wonderful news." Meanwhile, Mother's expression progressively darkened. Warner rose and excused himself to take a business call outside. Tara proceeded to the kitchen to prepare tea. The moment I found myself alone with Mother, her demeanor underwent a complete transformation. "Why did it have to be you first?" Mother's voice quivered with barely contained fury. Before I could formulate a reply, she persisted, "The initial grandchild should have been Tara's. Someone like you?" What transpired subsequently was entirely unforeseen. Mother abruptly stood and delivered a forceful kick to my abdomen. The agony was excruciating, and I couldn't suppress a scream. "Mother, cease!" I registered Tara's shriek. She had re-entered from the kitchen and witnessed Mother's act of violence. "Maran!" Warner rushed into the room. I remained huddled on the floor, grappling with the intense pain. Tara promptly contacted emergency services, while Warner provided support and directed a furious glare at Mother. Mother imperturbably began fabricating justifications. "Why are you creating such a commotion?" She simply collided with the dresser on her own. However, Tara erupted in rage. "Mom, I witnessed it. You kicked Maran in the abdomen." As the ambulance sirens drew nearer, I was barely clinging to consciousness. Warner clasped my hand, murmuring reassurances. "It's all right. I'm present." Tara was weeping while physically restraining Mother. What if something untoward happens to the baby? Tara's anguished cry resonated as the paramedics entered. As they hoisted me onto the stretcher, I could sense Mother's chilling stare. Within those eyes, I perceived the concentrated venom she had directed towards me for the preceding 25 years. Tara accompanied me during the ambulance journey to the medical facility. Clasping my sister's hand, I contemplated that perhaps the time had arrived to definitively sever my ties with Mother. Warner indicated he would follow in his vehicle and saw us off in the ambulance. Tara expressed her remorse profusely. "I'm so deeply sorry. I never perceived." I then acknowledged and truly knew the extent of the unwavering support my sister had provided me throughout all these years. The ambulance continued its progression towards the hospital. illuminated by the ambient glow of the street lamps. Reclining in the hospital bed, I recollected reminiscences from my girlhood. When had Mother commenced treating Tara and me with such marked disparity? I cannot pinpoint the precise inception, but it appears to predate my attainment of comprehension. Mother was the reigning beauty queen of our locality and continues to preserve her striking appearance to this day. Tara bears a striking resemblance to her, and whenever neighbors would exclaim, "You're Patricia's daughter, aren't you?" Mother would radiate pride. However, I, who inherited my father's features, was perpetually Mother's source of chagrin. I still vividly recall a particular Christmas morning when I was 8 years old, and Tara was 11. Elegantly wrapped gifts were arrayed beneath the festive tree. When Tara unveiled her present, it contained a fashionable designer-label dress. Mother smiled and declared, "It's ideally suited for Tara. She is, after all, my daughter." Subsequently, it was my turn. Upon opening my gift, I discovered unadorned jeans and a t-shirt, likely procured on clearance at Walmart. "These are more appropriate for you," she stated. Upon hearing Mother's words, my youthful self was rendered speechless. It wasn't solely limited to attire. Even food allocations differed. While Mother would encourage Tara, saying, "You're capable of consuming more, aren't you?" and offering her freshly baked sweets, she would curtail my servings, remarking, "Maran, if you desire to preserve that physique, that ought to suffice. Wouldn't you agree?" The disparity expanded further during our adolescent years. Tara attained popularity at school and ascended to the position of captain of the cheerleading squad. Mother was present at every weekend competition, proudly capturing photographs of Tara. I participated in the track team, and although my timings were commendable, Mother never attended to observe. "I'm preoccupied," was her consistent justification. Father would occasionally attend and offer a pat on my head, stating, "You performed admirably," but Father was engrossed in his professional endeavors and appeared oblivious to the intricate familial relationships. During high school, I progressively began to comprehend that my circumstances were atypical. The pivotal moment was a conversation with my closest confidant, Serena. "Maran, your mother is excessively harsh," she remarked one day. I regarded her with astonishment. "What is your meaning?" "Well, she procures designer apparel for Tara, but for you?" Serena's voice diminished. My mother would never exhibit such discriminatory behavior between her offspring. Those words enabled me to grasp, for the first instance, that my familial situation was anomalous. Simultaneously, I was cognizant that Tara remained unaware of my predicament. My sister genuinely believed I favored unpretentious clothing. "Maran, you possess such an elegant figure. You appear attractive in any attire," Tara would occasionally comment. She would sometimes propose lending me her garments, but they seldom fit, rendering them unwearable. Mother's preferential treatment became particularly pronounced when Tara or Father were absent. When we were alone, she would assail me with relentless verbal attacks. "To think I had to bring a child like you into existence! Tara would have sufficed. Why can't you emulate her?" Each instant she hurled such pronouncements at me, I felt as though my very being was being negated. However, I was aware that succumbing to tears would only provoke more scathing remarks, so I valiantly suppressed my sobs. My school companions expressed concern regarding my well-being. On my 16th birthday, Serena and others surreptitiously organized a celebratory gathering for me. I received no gift from Mother, but the charming makeup kit my friends selected for me endures as a cherished possession to this day. Around that period, I resolved to depart from my parental home. I was resolute in my pursuit of independence immediately following my high school graduation. Mother informed me, with merely a high school diploma, you'll never achieve anything significant, but that solely fortified my determination. Tara proceeded to university, and Mother utilized their savings for her tuition. It's a worthwhile investment for Tara. Mother stated with evident pride. Meanwhile, no provisions for higher education had ever been established for me. However, paradoxically, this inequitable situation imbued me with fortitude. I sustained exemplary academic performance throughout high school and secured part-time employment at a neighborhood diner after school hours. I incrementally accumulated my savings while formulating strategies for my forthcoming endeavors. Reclining in the hospital bed, these recollections surged through my consciousness like a cinematic presentation. The consistent auditory signal of the monitor reverberates within the tranquil confines of the room. I am gratified that the physician has assured me of my child's well-being. I am no longer that defenseless young girl from the past. I vow that I will never subject my offspring to the treatment I endured from mother. The nocturnal sky visible through the window was transitioning to a reddish hue. On the second morning of my hospitalization, Warner arrived promptly for a visit. When I inquired whether his work commitments were unaffected, he responded with a smile. "You are of greater importance." I encountered Warner 3 years subsequent to my high school graduation. I recall those days with clarity. Immediately after graduating high school, I departed from my home. Mother scoffed, "You'll be returning before long," but I pledged never to do so. Tara was immersed in her university pursuits and appeared to regard my departure with a degree of nonchalance. The initial phase was challenging. While maintaining my employment at the diner, I concurrently submitted applications for administrative roles at prominent supermarket establishments. When I disclosed my possession of only a high school diploma during interviews, the interviewer's countenance would typically cloud over. Nevertheless, I persisted and participated in interviews at over 30 corporations. The transformative juncture occurred during an interview for a customer service representative position at an information technology firm. Owing to the human resources manager who stated, "We prioritize your practical experience and drive over your formal qualifications," I secured my inaugural office-based employment. It was there that I encountered Warner, a systems engineer. Our initial interaction transpired when he assisted me with a printer malfunction. "You're consistently present from early morning until late evening," Warner remarked to me one day. I responded candidly, "I aspire to acquire as much knowledge as possible." For an individual with only a high school diploma, this employment opportunity is invaluable. Following that incident, Warner began to occasionally visit my workstation. We engaged in conversations over coffee during breaks and subsequently commenced socializing on weekends as well. As my rapport with Warner solidified, I progressively began to confide in him regarding my familial circumstances, the discord with Mother, my connection with Tara, and Father's seeming apathy. When I divulged everything, I harbored apprehension that he would create distance between us, but Warner was distinct. "No individual possesses the entitlement to invalidate your existence," he affirmed, embracing me firmly. For the initial occasion, I experienced a sense of security sufficient to permit myself to weep. The proposal transpired during the winter of my second year with the corporation. Following the company's Christmas celebration, while traversing the illuminated thoroughfares, Warner genuflected. To his straightforward query, "Will you consent to be my wife?" I responded affirmatively without any reservation. I still vividly recollect visiting my parental home after a 2-year absence to announce our betrothal. Mother's initial demeanor was frigid, remarking, "No respectable gentleman would desire a daughter possessing merely a high school diploma." However, upon learning of Warner's professional occupation, her attitude underwent a radical transformation. "Oh, an engineer!" Mother abruptly adopted a cordial disposition. Her conduct induced a sense of unease within me, but Warner preserved his composure and responded sincerely to her superficial comportment. Tara exhibited genuine elation on my behalf. "Maran, I'm exceedingly delighted for you." She congratulated me with a luminous smile and volunteered to assist with the nuptial arrangements. Father, also uncharacteristically, voiced his approval, stating, "He's a commendable young man." The wedding ceremony was modest, yet imbued with warmth. Mother feigned a smile for the sake of appearances. She did not neglect to murmur in my ear during the reception. I harbored doubts regarding the longevity of this union, but I no longer possessed the susceptibility to be wounded by her pronouncements. Our newly established life afforded me my inaugural encounter with a normative familial environment. Warner's parents extended a warm welcome to me, treating me as their own offspring. My mother-in-law would consistently offer gentle counsel when I was engaged in culinary preparations. "Your meals are truly delectable," she would commend me with authentic expressions. My professional endeavors were also progressing favorably. Leveraging my experience in customer service, I was even entrusted with the responsibility of training newly recruited personnel. My high school education no longer constituted an impediment. Approximately 1 year subsequent to our marriage, I discovered my pregnancy. Warner reacted with exuberant joy and promptly informed his parents. My in-laws were overcome with elation and expeditiously delivered catalogs of infant-related items. However, I experienced trepidation regarding informing my own family. I was cognizant that if Mother discovered the news, she would utter something disparaging. Nevertheless, a minuscule portion of my being harbored the aspiration that the impending arrival of the baby might ameliorate my relationship with her. That hope lingered in a secluded recess of my heart. "I shall accompany you," Warner declared. We contacted Tara in advance and specified the date of our visit. That day now evokes a nightmarish sensation as I recline here in this hospital bed. The subtle aroma emanating from the floral arrangement Warner left in the hospital room permeates the air. His words, "It's our juncture now," profoundly resonated within my soul. Irrespective of Mother, I possess my adoring husband and our soon-to-be-born child. That is a state of felicity that no one can deprive me of. "Ma'am, it's the designated time for rounds." The nurse's voice recalled me to the present reality. As the monitor sustained its subdued auditory signal, I exhaled deeply. The decisions that lie ahead will not be facile, but there is no possibility of regression now. There's a minor fissure in the osseous structure, but fortunately, there's no adverse impact on the fetus. Everyone present within the hospital room emitted a collective sigh of alleviation upon hearing the physician's pronouncements. Tara firmly grasped my hand, and Warner nodded with profound relief. However, the respite proved ephemeral. The door swung open, and Father entered, accompanied by Mother. "Maran?" Clear distress was discernible in Father's intonation. "Tara contacted us. Is it veracious? Did you—" Mother sustained her customary demeanor, initiating her fabrications. "Oh, what are you insinuating?" Maran merely stumbled against the dresser herself, but Tara rose to her feet. "That's sufficient." My sister's voice reverberated throughout the hospital chamber. "I witnessed it. I observed you kicking Maran in the abdomen, Mom." The color leached from Father's countenance. "It cannot be—" At that juncture, there was an unanticipated arrival. The hospital's social worker. "May I engage in a conversation with you?" Although the tone was gentle, there was an undeniable resolve in those eyes. Mother abruptly dissolved into tears. I'm being portrayed as the antagonist. Everyone is uniting against me. However, no one was swayed by Mother's histrionics. The social worker calmly but resolutely elucidated the circumstances. This constitutes a clear instance of physical aggression. Given that the victim is pregnant, it will be regarded as a more egregious offense. Mother's expression congealed upon hearing those pronouncements. "I possess the authority to report this incident to the law enforcement authorities," the social worker proceeded. "However, if you desire an opportunity to deliberate this matter as a family," Tara interjected. "Maran, let's disclose everything presently." I inhaled deeply. Yes, there's no longer any necessity to conceal the truth. It was the opportune moment to articulate all the maltreatment I had endured at Mother's hands over the preceding 25 years. "Dad," I commenced, my voice tremulous, "I've been enduring this perpetually." To recount the narrative, the discriminatory treatment since my early childhood, the days of being subjected to disparagement, the countless callous pronouncements, how mother would adopt the persona of a devoted parent when in Tara's presence, but undergo a complete transformation when alone with me. Maran, father's voice was shaking. Why didn't you confide in me previously? I was unable to, I responded, wiping away my tears. Mom invariably presented herself as a virtuous mother in your and Tara's presence. I surmised that no one would accept my account. Tara concealed her face with both hands. I expressed my sincere apologies, Maran. I remained oblivious. At this juncture, Mother abruptly arose and vociferated, "Is it my transgression?" It's attributable to her unattractiveness and ineptitude. Tara possessed beauty and excellence, akin to myself, but she— Be silent. Father's voice truncated Mother's screams. It was the inaugural occasion on which I had heard my typically placid father employ such a tone. You are unsuited to the role of a mother. Father's pronouncements were laden with gravity. I shall not permit you to inflict further harm upon Maran. The social worker commenced speaking in a subdued manner. Under these circumstances, I advocate for the application of a restraining order. Additionally, therapeutic intervention. Mother precipitously lunged towards my bed. You ingrate. After I nurtured you, Warner and father expeditiously restrained Mother. Nurses rushed in, and the hospital chamber was momentarily engulfed in pandemonium. That evening, father declared his intention to initiate divorce proceedings against Mother. Maran, I am profoundly remorseful. I ought to have discerned. The law enforcement authorities initiated an investigation into Mother, and a restraining order was effectuated. Mother proceeded to reside with relatives, but persisted in transmitting incessant messages, asserting that she would never extend forgiveness to me. Tara frequented my hospital room on a daily basis. This time, I shall appropriately oversee Maran's nascent life. During my hospitalization, Warner's parents visited with regularity. My mother-in-law would proffer homemade soup and articulate, "You are our cherished daughter." On the day of my discharge, my physician placed a hand upon my abdomen and stated, "The infant is in robust health. They will undoubtedly mature into a strong individual." As we departed from the hospital, the gentle vernal sunlight enveloped us. Warner propelled my wheelchair, with Tara and father ambulating on either side. It was then that I initially comprehended that this constituted my reconstituted familial structure. Mother was absent, but for the inaugural instance, I experienced the authentic warmth of familial connection. Prior to entering the vehicle, father embraced me. Henceforth, let us coexist as genuine parent and offspring. I nodded in affirmation. The protracted winter had concluded, and a fresh season was commencing. Maran, just one additional exertion. I summoned all my strength in response to the physician's voice resonating throughout the delivery chamber. Following 16 hours of labor, our child was finally on the verge of arrival. I can discern the infant's head. Warner firmly grasped my hand. Tara was weeping while massaging my back. Subsequently, a robust cry permeated the room. It's a female. She's an exceptionally healthy neonate. Tears welled up in my eyes as the nurse presented me with this diminutive life form. Her small, rubicund face, her tightly clenched fists. "Nikki," I murmured. It was the appellation Warner and I had previously selected. Father was the first to behold the infant in the waiting area. "She bears a striking resemblance to you during your infancy," he remarked, tears glistening in his eyes. 3 months have elapsed since that momentous occasion. The final communication with Mother was a voicemail message she dispatched while I was hospitalized. "I shall never forgive you. You've caused me to forfeit everything." I subsequently learned that she relocated to another state. I shall likely never encounter her again. Nevertheless, occasionally, when I awaken in the midst of the night, I contemplate her, not with animosity or rancor, but as a woman who, in some manner, strayed from the correct path and forfeited her capacity for affection. Maran, I believe Nikki is awake. It's the designated feeding interval. Tara conveyed the infant to me. My sister relocated to an apartment in close proximity and visits nearly every day. Hey, Maran, Tara greeted me with a gentle smile. Nikki possesses ocular orbs of the same hue as yours. Indeed, Nikki's eyes are brown, mirroring my own, but her smile is an exact replica of Warner's. Father recently resolved to take early retirement. His rationale was, I aspire to witness my granddaughter's maturation. He visits every weekend to observe Nikki and cradles her for extended durations. Maran, Father addressed me one day with a solemn expression. You've comported yourself admirably. You've evolved into a remarkable mother. Those words induced tears to well up in my eyes, expressions of commendation I had yearned for throughout all these years. They possessed a warmth that appeared to assuage all the antecedent wounds. Warner's parents treat Nikki as their own grandchild. My mother-in-law handcrafted knitted infant garments. You and Nikki constitute our treasured family. Parenting is not devoid of challenges. There are nocturnal periods when we are deprived of sleep due to her cries, diurnal periods when we fret over her well-being. However, someone is invariably present to offer assistance during those junctures. If you ever require anything, simply inform me, Tara frequently states. There is no longer any pretense in my sister's pronouncements. I've commenced participation in a support group. I encounter other mothers with intricate familial relationships, and we exchange our narratives. We attentively listen to each other's accounts and provide mutual encouragement. There, I ascertain that I am not solitary. With the collective support of everyone, I've cultivated resilience. I was capable of disseminating my narrative for the inaugural occasion at a recent convocation. On the day Nikki attained the age of 6 months, we hosted a modest celebratory gathering. Father, Tara, Warner's parents, and intimate companions were in attendance. The room was replete with smiles and a convivial ambiance. Hey, Warner murmured to me, are you experiencing contentment? The setting sun, filtering through the window, gently illuminated Nikki's slumbering countenance. Tara and Father were engaged in amicable discourse, while my in-laws were capturing photographic images. Yes, I responded with a smile, exceedingly so. I shall not permit any somber shadows to befall this child's existence. I shall not replicate the errors committed by Mother. I shall bestow upon Nikki unconditional affection. As I articulated this vow, Nikki extended her diminutive hand in my direction. The gesture appeared to convey reassurance. It's acceptable. A fresh diurnal period is on the cusp of commencement. Perhaps this juncture marks the inception of our authentic narrative. Outside the window, the vernal zephyr was delicately swaying the arboreal specimens.